Sup, fellas?
What's up, dude? Hey, we gotta time that a little better. When I say go, maybe we give it like a 2-second delay because I noticed when I hit live, it's like a 2 or 3 second delay. You know, in our video.
I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
All right, though. It's all right.
Yeah, it is what it is. What's crack-a-lacking, Captain?
Howdy, gentlemen.
What's up, James?
Just get my freight on as usual.
Get my freight on, dude. I love that shit. We gotta come up with that slogan, man. What's that? Jason Raybines, have a freight day. You know, and his is getting my freight on, bro. We gotta come up with a fucking slogan, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or start singing freight ballads.
Dude, hey, you know that we have a friend that he and another acquaintance of ours, they do logistics songs. Jeff Dickinson and John Brewer.
No, not Jeff Dickinson. It's Michael Vincent and John Brewer.
Oh, sorry, Michael Vincent.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for correcting me, Hunter. Michael Vincent and John Brewer. They do parodies to old popular songs, bro, about logistics. This shit is hilarious, man.
Dude, it is funny. Like it's worth it. It's worth a listen.
I'm in.
It is, dude. Yeah. Hunter will send you the info to their YouTube channel. I listen to every one of them, dude. They're a hoot. So besides that, how else was your day, James?
Busy. Just grinding out freight, trying to get some stuff done. We got a Denver Transportation Golf Tournament tomorrow. Shout out to my guys at Southwest Airlines. They're gonna bring me on the team tomorrow. Hopefully I can hold my own weight a little bit, maybe make a couple putts, but yeah, that's what we got cracking this week. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good. Just another day in paradise. Staying above water.
I love it.
Yeah. That's I guess I say that's me too, Hunter. I mean, my day's pretty good. Booked some freight, pulled off couple last minute things for a pharmaceutical customer of mine, and man, that's it, man. It's a pretty easy day. And then I did have to jump out a little early to go help my son finish up some work he's doing for my brother. But besides that, man, you know, good freaking day in the logistics universe here. I can't complain. So, or as I just said, and I like to say, I could complain. I just got to find somebody to listen to me, and my wife won't. she's done.
You better listen to her though.
She says the same thing, but I never do. And I mean, I don't know, brother. I like to ride the rails, man. Live life on the edge, and if you're a married man, you do that by not listening to your wife.
Try that a couple times. Didn't always work out.
Unfortunately for my wife, I try it all the time, and she's always telling me, "You're testing my damn patience."
At least she knows. She knows what she's into.
Yeah, we've been together 22, 3, 4, 10, 30, 50, I don't know, a long fucking time. So, yeah, she's used to my bullshit by now. But
there you go.
Anyway, we're going to get right into the show. But before we do that, we're going to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Right now, as you can see, we have Freight Management Systems logo and info scrolling across the bottom of the screen. They have an amazing transportation management system, really geared more towards the brokers and the shippers, but it does work for you carriers as well. It has a lot of features to integrate with load boards and accounting software, tracking software, so forth and so on. So really amazing people over there. Henry Sheldon, give them a shout via email or phone, and here we go. Boom. Awesome sauce, man. I love it. I was just actually sent a message today because their ad run ends here soon, and I told him, I said, hey man, we actually need to pause it and bring it back on in November when we have you on to talk about those updates and stuff, man, that they got rolling out, for the Dre stuff and all those other things that they got going on. So yeah, hope to hear back from him, man, and we can have him back on and get him to tell us some more about what they do. Next, AccuBid Pro for all you carriers out there, well, specifically you owner-operators and lease operators. You've heard me talk on the show before about that you do not need to be chasing the big numbers for freight. $5,000 doesn't matter if you're running below your cost per mile. And that's what AccuBid Pro does. They're an app available in the Apple and Google Play Store. You download them, you input all your load information, your expenses for the load, and it helps you to calculate your cost per mile, which is what will tell you at what level you're profitable at, so you know how to bid better so you win off of every single load. Jimmy Durden and his folks over there are amazing. Give them a shout. Tell them that Pedro Potato and Dr. Drizzy Jersey J gave or told you to go over there.
Don't be a victim of cheap freight anymore. Take back control. These are turbulent times for the transportation industry, with companies merging or even closing their doors. Whether you're going out on your own or leasing on with a new company, know your operating costs. Look out for you and bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Good stuff. Love it, love it, love it. Again, AccuBid Pro helps you carriers out with your operating cost expenses, teaches you how to build better and create more profit versus just revenue. Revenue does not mean that you're making money. And if you don't know that, I advise you get the fuck out of your truck right now. So that said, that done, we're going to continue rolling in to what we got going on tonight. James, I don't know how to say your last name, James, so I'm not even going to attempt to. We got James going to talk about some space freight, and man, we're going to, who knows where this is going to lead, but hope you all are going to stick with us and we can talk about this. Hunter met this gentleman in, I don't know, somewhere. I'll let Hunter introduce him. But before we get to that, we're going to go ahead and do our news segment. Man, love it, love it, love it. I'm telling you, bro, nobody else does the shit that we do, Hunter. Like the little videos and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, I think
the extra efforts.
It is. I think that's really part of what makes us special. I'm serious as a fucking heart attack. All right, so tonight's article, as you can see, talks about used equipment values still have room to fall. You can see that this comes from Commercial Carrier Journal. I give them a shout out all the time. I do not get paid anything for that. I just think they have an amazing group of people over there that report on some stuff that you don't see on a lot of the other logistic news outlets. So what the article is they interviewed Josh Giles, who is with Black Book. They are a vehicle valuation company like Kelley Blue Book. If you've ever heard of them, you know, they evaluate cars. He states that the number one question that he is asked right now is, have we hit rock bottom on equipment valuation? And although equipment prices have fallen, he says that we still have a way to go. And I want to say that this article kind of focuses more from the dealer perspective about how they're concerned about their inventory that they've bought at higher prices and how the vehicle or the equipment valuations are falling. So they're looking at taking a break even and a loss in most cases. But I touch on this because it also matters to you carriers, and I will point that out at the end of what I got to say here. So moving on, since 2018, trucks across the board have rose more than 40% in value. However, the article says that if we shorten that to a year over year, then OTR trucks have fallen around 40% since last fall. But ironically enough, construction vehicles, you know, which are the trucks they use to do dump trucks and, you know, vac trucks, porta potty trucks, that type of stuff. Those have actually went up in valuation 6%, which I think is a good thing because that obviously shows that, construction is still going on. Things are still being built. And, obviously with the talk about the way the economy goes or is going right now, to me, that's a good sign. If construction, people are buying construction utility trucks, that's a good thing. Oh, excuse me. This matters, in my opinion, both for purchasing and reselling. Completely lost my train of thought. This has an effect on all you carriers, especially if you're trying to trade up or sell the truck that you have right now. Obviously, if you bought your equipment in the early part of COVID when prices were way up there, and you have a higher truck note, you may be trying to get rid of that truck now and get something that has a cheaper note or just upgrade. Well, if you bought that truck for $50,000, but since then the valuations per this article, things have dropped near 40%, then, you may be looking at being upside down on that note you have and end up may just being stuck with the equipment you have. So, like I said, although this is coming from a dealer perspective, it does have the effects on you carriers that are looking to get rid of or just buy a new truck, period. Maybe you're looking to expand your fleet, and so this could help you in a way, I guess, as well. The article also continues to say that trailers aren't faring much better, that van and reefer valuations are down about 25% over the last year, and that is after them coming up around 30% since the start of COVID. If y'all remember, reefer trailers were, 50, 55 grand, brand new, something like that. And then during COVID, I mean, I had customers that I moved trailers for, and they were valuing those reefers at $75,000, $85,000. So, those as well, that's also a double-edged sword. If you're looking to buy new equipment, new trailers, that's a good thing because the equipment is now cheaper. But if you have older equipment that you're trying to get rid of or maybe use to trade up into something newer, that old equipment has obviously lost valuation. So again, you could be upside down on that equipment. To end on the trailer note, they say open decks have actually raised in value. They've went up about 5%. So just like with the construction vehicles, they went up in valuation, and the open decks, which is flatbeds or Conestogas, your steps, those have actually increased slightly in valuation. So if you're an owner of one of those, then, trying to look to sell, that's a good thing. Trying to look to buy, it's a bad thing. In conclusion, I would like to point out, here we have another effect of the COVID craze. We talk about this all the time. The people that got into the industry in COVID, Hunter and I coined the term COVID crusaders. That's brokers, carriers, dispatchers, all y'all out there that got into this thinking everything was going to last, spend all this money. And now here it is. Life sucks right now. And you're hating your decision. Anyway, it's effect from the COVID craze. Nobody predicted it. Nobody was prepared. Just like with the rates and the fuel, the entire industry made half-ass decisions, thinking the ride will last forever. And now it's time to pay the piper, as they say. Here we are about a year out of COVID, and the ramifications, they continue to be shown. As I just said, the rates and the fuel are another one of those ramifications. So there we have our quick little snippet. Equipment is falling in value, trucks and trailers. So if you're looking to buy something, you're in a good position. If you're looking to sell something, you're in a bad position. And with that, we'll continue on and get with James. Hunter, if you want to go ahead and introduce him.
Yeah, absolutely. James, good to have you on the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the crowd out there, James and I met at a bar in downtown Nashville after, what was it, the Selectus conference?
Yes, sir.
Yep,
Correct.
Selectus conference. I was a conference crasher. I just hit the after party, didn't get to go. I didn't even know what Selectus was. It was a great time, though. But, yeah, met James at Rippy's down there with my boy Dan Cleric and started yucking it up about space freight. And here we are today.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear what you got to share with the team.
Yeah, that was a cool conference. Yeah, Selectus Solera people did a great job. It's for those of you who don't know, it's kind of a expedited load board, primarily cargo sprinter, box truck freight, just post out type of deal. But yeah, so little background on myself. Been in logistics for 16 years, all at the same company, Cap Logistics. We're an expediter. My primary customer base is mining companies, mining equipment. So multimodal, air freight, ground freight, whatever, train, helicopter, however I can get it to them the fastest, and what's going to save them the most money and preserve uptime for their machinery. So yeah, that's kind of it. I've only been at the one company. I've only been doing logistics as my only kind of primary career. I was a ski coach previous to that. Born and raised in Colorado, just kind of a ski bum, competitive skier most of my life. And one of my friends was in a family business, and after college just said, "Hey, you wanna come do freight?" And I've kind of been hooked ever since. So yeah, Expedite's a different beast, man. 24/7, 365. Get that rush whenever you get a big win. I know everybody feels that in the freight world, right? When you do it at midnight, it's a very different feeling. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, that expedited freight's something else, man. Like I did a little bit in the like entertainment industry with like different shows and stuff. Like you have to have a truck right then, right there. And I tell you, like even just like general sprint, sprint vans, box truck, whatever, you post that up, there are 1,000,005 people just ready to rock and roll. So I bet that's
just which one do you believe, right?
Yeah.
Hey James, I looked on y'all's website. Do you personally deal with air freight?
Yes. Yeah. That yeah. So we've primarily been a freight forwarder, and then so air freight. I know we're kind of a interesting beast. We just find whatever mode gets it to our customer fastest, right? And we've kind of delved in a little bit of everything. And one of the projects I worked on the last 5 years was kind of going asset direct. We used to work with brokers here and there, and we just found there wasn't enough control in that. Customers want to know where their stuff is, and adding another barrier there doesn't always help. So yeah, we located partner assets and did just kind of the asset direct thing, and so we can kind of outsource a little bit of everything. But yeah, lots of air freight for sure.
That's cool. I asked, man, one of the first jobs I had after I graduated college with my logistics stuff is I worked at DFW Airport, and we were like literally right next. There was us, the fence, and then the runway. And man, I used to work till 10, 11 o'clock every single night. And flights would come in at like 8 p.m. And I had to go run up the street to freaking Crane or run over to Quantic and pick up some stupid small 1x1 box that the world was going to fucking end if they did not have that box by the end of the night. We used to pick up parts for Gulfstream, and man, I will say that was pretty cool. Picking up stuff for Gulfstream, because when you got to go to their factory, if you asked, they would let you walk inside and like show you the cabins being built. So that was pretty sick. But that air freight stuff is special, man. Like, I never set it up, but the guy who ran the company I was with, he did a ton of air freight.
Yeah, it's a different world, and obviously regulations and BSA and all the hurdles to do that kind of thing is a big challenge. You know, our company's been around for 40 years, so I've got to hear all the background stories from pre 9/11 air freight. Those are the most fun to me. Like hearing some of the old air freight dogs talk about, yeah, hey, we know the pilot, right? Have the pilot hold the plane. We'll drive our truck up onto the tarmac and give him a bottle of Jack to hold the plane. Keep the freight on it, right? Like
That's classic.
Yeah. So,
And when you see
Wild
news stories about a pilot being caught drunk, James is the one that you blame.
wasn't me, man.
I was
Pre 9/11. I wasn't even out of high school.
Dude, when I was at Georgia Southern, I had this one professor. It was Intro to Transportation, and he was an old officer in the Air Force, and he told me about one time where a Russian cargo plane flew into their base. I don't know what they were delivering, and this might have been a bullshit story, but it's hilarious. But they said the back tail dropped down, and all these Russian guys with AK-47s came walking out, and the pilot was wearing nothing but a Speedo, a captain's hat, some flip-flops, and a big old cup full of vodka. He said he just like called in a radio call and had all of them on the ground like, "You're really going to fuck Jeff."
Oh man, pilots are crazy. Oh, did you see the British Airways guy that got popped?
Hey,
Oh,
James,
doing cooking off the woman.
hold on. Hey, James, do us a favor. When you're not talking, mute your mic. We're getting feedback, and Hunter and I are trying to figure out who it is because I just got a new mic myself. So, if you would, just when you're not talking, mute your mic so we can see if maybe it's the feedback on your end.
Okay, yeah, I can try headphones too if you want.
Okay, but mute your mic real quick. Let's see if that's what it is. Hunter, boom.
Yeah.
It is James. Fucking James, man. Causing problems already. I'm telling you what. Oh, there you go, James. That's better, broski. Hunter, I think, had the same problem with his laptop at first, like because his mic was right near his speaker, so you would get the feedback on it.
Yeah. Now I got some $10 headphones from Target. Big time podcast guy.
Oh man, that's funny shit, dude. So
yeah, give me a sec here. I'll try and hook these up.
Okay. So after he hooks this up, I want to hear about you guys' conversation about space freight, man. And I mean, like I said, you and I talked about this a while back. I'm gonna have to go look at the show.
Talked about it first.
Dude, we did. I think it was like our first or second show, man, that we talked about space freight. And you know, we were new at it, dude. We weren't prepared. It was just like us trying to be funny and shit because I think it was like
when India landed on the south pole of the moon.
Yes.
Mark my words, that's going to be the first spot for a dispatch station, okay, for space freight. India's going to have that on lock.
Yeah, for real, bro. I agree, man. I mean, they're already. I mean, they said it on there, dude. The first country to actually go and put something on there, you know, worth the shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and they've come a long way, man, in all aspects, man, with their military, their space.
And they weren't big and flashy about it. Like nobody knew until like we were on our sales call and our guy in India, Raj. He was like, "Yeah, did you hear about the moon landing?" We're like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, we've been keeping up with this for months." None of us had heard about it. It was insane. I thought it was
cool.
vacant.
So, hey, you guys, if you want to, James or Hunter or whoever, touch on that conversation that you guys were having, and let's spew into talking about some space freight and space logistics. Because I think, man, I think this shit's really cool. Like you said, James, I think we're going to see this in our lifetime. And Hunter and I were actually saying earlier when I was driving that we both hope we do get to see, you know, colonization on the moon at some point within our lifetime. So, who wants to talk about the conversation?
Well, Well, I'll just say, if y'all read that article I sent you, houses will be on the moon by 2040, projected. But how James and I got kicked up about it, we were just sitting there shooting shit about freight. And then my drunk ass was like, wait till space freight happens. And James just looks, he's like, did you just say space freight? Like, hell yeah, dude. But yeah, come to find out, James is well dug into the he's gonna be one of the pioneers for space freight. That's all I can say.
I hope so. Hopefully Elon's listening to this. We can get it going.
Sam, bring us on, man.
Yeah. No, I was actually a few years back, honestly. You know, I was working night shift and hit a little lull. And I think it was James Cameron. He had started asteroid mining company. So like I like to read a lot of mining news and
James
whatnot.
Cameron?
Yeah.
Like the director.
The director, yeah. So so it was him and a couple of the Google executives. You know, that I'm sure they're just like, hey, what do we do with this extra millions of dollars we have? And they're like, oh, let's start an asteroid mining company, right? So I read about this and I'm like, wait, well, how are they going to get the shit up there? Like, you know, and then that's kind of when the wheels started turning. And
yeah,
I mean, now you have all these opportunities with, you know, it used to just be nation based, you know, NASA or, you know, Russia, China, whoever had a space shuttle, but you got privatized companies now that are launching up into space. So yeah, what's the potential for, I not to say that there would be some sort of high level brokerage, but there would probably be some sort of contract intermediaries. I don't know. It
technically
could go anywhere.
Elon Musk is the first space freight guy with SpaceX. Like sent one of his ships up a couple months ago just to send supplies. And I mean, yeah, of course NASA has that or whoever has that for the International Space Station, but this is just some guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like, I'm going to send some shit to space.
He's the first space freight broker. That's what he is, bro. He's the first space freight broker.
Elon no, he's the first asset-based space carrier, okay? Because that's his shit. When I broker out a spaceship, that'll be the day.
Elon, hey, no, I got 2 pallets that I need to send to Pluto. Could you go ahead and give me a rate for that?
I'll do it for free. Just make sure I'm in the rocket ship. But yeah, that's wild. So James, like, I know obviously we're not to the point yet for like sending stuff to space as brokers, but I remember you telling me about like the intricacies of that supply chain, like the insurance required just to send parts to like these people, like what it takes to truly be like someone that is a part of this effort in logistics for space.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about high value supply chain asset stuff. So yeah, what obviously boots on the ground, that's your first step. So there's manufacturers, suppliers within you. There's actually a ton of them here in Colorado. Aerospace is a big thing. We're looking at opening some spaceports. So
really,
it all kind of intertwined with. Yeah.
That is wild. That's a wild concept.
A lot of people in Boulder with wild ideas and a ton of money. So yeah. Here, I mean, New Mexico, you know, there's a lot of open space in New Mexico. I know they're looking at some spaceport options down there, but yeah, that's obviously your first step is transporting.
When you say spaceport, is that like an ocean port or a rail port?
Yeah, I mean, launching pads, right? Like, obviously, you know, Florida, Texas, the standard areas, but you're going to have more and more as it becomes commercialized, and you'll start to see it develop like airports have. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's going to be an interesting future for sure.
Yeah, no, that's funny though. I have a buddy. He joined the Air Force, and then like he kind of got into the IT side of the world, and then they were like, "You're a part of the Space Force now," and they moved him out to Colorado. I think he's in Colorado Springs or wherever the base is up there. And
Yeah.
half the time I talk to him, I'm like, "What are you doing up there?" And he's like, "I have no fucking clue." But there
Or
are
I
some
can't
times where he's
tell
like,
you.
"Yeah, I got to do some shit, but I can't tell you." So that's interesting. That's interesting. Space Force, spaceports. Like,
Sports.
wow.
I want to,
Yeah.
dude. I want to say something. Oh my god, here he is, dude. Oh, so I'm about to play the video of this guy in a second. You said Space Force. There's this veteran on TikTok and Facebook, and he makes fun of all of the branches. Like he'll do something like you know what the different branches do when someone breaks into your house, and he goes through Army, Navy, Air Force, but he also does the Space Force, bro. this dude cracks me the fuck up, man. Hold on, let me get this video and then post it over here so I can actually play the sound on it. I know this topic, but like I gotta play this thing, man.
So funny, Rob. So James, do you deal with the air freight directly as operations manager? You just kind of like oversee a certain sector over there at CAP?
I do whatever it takes, man. We're we're a family-owned business, and
Right.
our founders got a goal for a long-term family-owned company. So, but whatever it needs, operate the forklifts, plunge toilets, book air freight, book trucks.
I love it. You're forklift certified?
I just lost my certification, so I can no longer say that. I got to renew it. I know. I don't have that front anymore. So.
Well, you actually got certified on the forklift. I didn't know you had to do that.
I mean, I can still drive it.
I can't get this thing to load, but either way, there's this guy on TikTok, man. He makes fun of the shit. It's funny though. The Spaceports guy has a tinfoil fucking hat and shit, dude. So it's pretty hilarious. But I will say, man, that as someone who is just into outer space, Hunter and I were talking about this earlier. And as I said earlier in the show, about I'm awaiting the colonization of anything, man, whether it be the moon or Mars. Personally, I think the moon will be the first step. But, also with what we said about Elon, already sending stuff up, as an outside third party, in a way, space logistics provider, supplying stuff to the space station. You talking about the spaceports, there's a lot of things that will go into this. And I don't think that a lot of people understand the fact that traditional brokers and people like Hunter and like you will all have a play in this, because things are going to be made overseas, obviously, and they're going to have to be, put on a ship or whatever it is, come in here. That's Hunter. It gets here, it may need to be transported via, a van or flatbed, which may come into me, or something that's expedited that, they need something immediate, they need a fresh round of Tang so they can send it up to the International Space Station. If anyone out there doesn't know what Tang is, go fucking look it up. And I don't know if they still sell it, but go buy some and try it out. It's pretty fucking awesome. But anyway, dude, I like. Have you ever had Tang, Hunter?
Oh yeah, dude. I used to have the pouches that had the monkey on it, and then I had the powder, dude. That's just good.
You remember Tang, James?
Oh yeah, Tang, Ovaltine.
Yeah, it's like Ovaltine. That's funny. You're right, man.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tang was like the orange juice Ovaltine. Oh, that's funny shit. But anyway, I definitely see this as being a multifaceted, multi-step, multi-person, multi-agency thing, that going on here. I see everybody having their own part in it, man. And I think that's really interesting because there's not a lot of industries out there to where all of us can come into play. It's usually, either traditional broker or the drayage and the international like Hunter does, or the expedited like you do. So, this space freight thing kicking off, I don't think that people realize that when it starts to really move off, there is a ton of room for a lot of people to make money. I personally, with our truck, when we were a hot shot, we did 2 loads for SpaceX. And let me tell you, we got paid real fucking good for those things. But I'll say, man, like even when we picked up and when we dropped off, like my guys couldn't have their cell phones on them. They had to put them in boxes and lock them up. Only one of my drivers could be outside the truck. And dude, when we got to California where the stuff went, it was even worse, man. Only one of my drivers was allowed in the facility. The other guy had to stay at the security gate. And again, no cell phones, like none of that stuff, man. But again, we got paid really good for it, but they were super, super secretive about it. And we had to get a rider insurance policy for another $100,000 because the 3 crates that we shipped were worth $220,000 fucking dollars, dude. Like three crates, bro. It took up like 20 feet on the fucking truck, and that shit was worth almost $250,000.
I'm talking about insurance policies. James, lay some truth on people on how much insurance you need.
There's going to be ceilings on this stuff for sure. I mean, obviously your current infrastructure of $1 million, $100K, that's going to be out the window. And I do think it's going to come into a very specialized territory. So you're going to see carriers holding probably 5 million cargo just to even be in this game at some point, and then riders on top of that. So specialty security clearance. I mean, I would assume a lot of it's going to go military first. If anybody's ever dealt with delivering military bases, the requirements even there. But
yeah, even that military stuff, man, that government stuff, they subcontract, a lot of that out to these regular carriers, and I mean, we delivered to base. Matter of fact, we just delivered to Fort Lewis last week. Oh, and then we left Fort Lewis and delivered to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. But yeah, that military stuff is strict, man. Even getting on those bases is pretty tight. And I agree, James. Like that'll be the least amount of level of security that they have for these people doing that stuff, man. And like I said, we've had to get rider insurance policies on a few things for the government. We shipped a few containers that was full of radio equipment. And even though the government may try to bid at the cheapest, that radio equipment ain't cheap. Full truck of that, a flatbed, you're talking, damn near $500,000, $250,000 worth of equipment. So I think the insurance, like you said, it's going to go outrageous. And with that said, another person comes into play there, the insurance companies. It's going to take big dog specialized insurers to be able to give people $5-10 million policies to be able to carry some of this stuff for space freight and such. Yeah,
I mean, just submitting for some of those riders, I imagine it'd take a month or so to get all the underwriting completed and do that kind of business. I think it's cool to think about like the probably specialized group of carriers that are going to be built through all this, right? You're gonna have dudes doing 5-10 loads a year, but still pulling full salaries, but you're gonna have a lot of risk. You're gonna have to be super clean. No, not a speck on that MC number, So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game for sure.
I'm with you on that, man. And to go back on the security thing and to add on to what you're saying, it's not going to just be that MC, man. I could see them truly possibly go in the direction you say and just finding a group of specialized carriers to do it, possibly even doing background checks on these people. Go to the extreme. It delivered to military bases and military hardware. Like for the most part, that's just standard protocols that you have to get on a military base. No special things, you know what I mean? But when it comes to the space program, I mean, that stuff is, up there with CIA top secret type things. That's extreme proprietary information that we don't want to get out. And I think they're going to go to the extreme, try to use as few amount of people. Even with the insurance companies, man, they're going to be strict on that. They're not going to accept no Progressive or Lloyd's of London.
Right.
Like, get out of here with that bullshit. So, and another thing I just thought about, man, is I wonder if factoring companies, Clint with Shoreline, if you watch this, let us know. Will Shoreline Capital factor space freight invoices for like $500,000?
Right. Yeah. What's the percentage on that?
Yeah, right. I think this stuff is it's gonna go crazy, man. And I mean,
to the moon, if you will.
Yeah, right, to the moon, dude. Seriously.
I don't know. There's like James, you and I talked about, man. It's like someone like Elon, that $10 million to him is nothing. Like
yeah,
that's the type of cats that are gonna get it done. But you would almost think like this is very different picture in the sense of money, but like if you drive for Uber, let's say you have your insurance policy, but Uber, if you get in an accident while driving for Uber, they have an insurance policy for you because you're working for them. So that might be a solution in the long run. Like say these carriers, like you're talking about, like you're not going to be able to have a dent on your MC number within the past 30 years, I'd imagine, unless they come and pick you, like two guys in black suits show up to your door as a driver, like you're coming to work for the government now.
You're the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly. But you would think with stuff like that there would have to be some sort of swinging effort, because like, no carrier is going to get that big of an insurance policy for, let's say, 5 loads, even if it does pay that much. Like, what's your premium going to be? Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of overhead, and it would make sense for whoever is giving you that freight to say, hey,
sure.
we understand I think let's chip in, because then they have, if shit does hit the fan, and it is, I don't know how expensive that stuff can get, but like, what if your insurance company, like someone gets that policy and their company's like, yeah, no, we're not going to cover that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that we can even talk about it, because it wasn't even a subject when it was just NASA, right? Now that you have Bezos and Elon and privatized space,
even Virgin Airlines,
it's a possibility to be able to even have the discussion of, you don't have to be military personnel to be involved in this now. So
the thing that I feel like really set this off in conjunction with India on the moon, but was the government admitting about the existence of UFOs and aliens. I mean, it kind of opened up in my mind, the window, saying like, dude, there's other things out there, and it's obviously it's inevitable that we are going to eventually be out there. And so we're going to need goods and supplies and equipment and all this stuff to man our space stations or the aircraft, spacecraft that we're going to send out to the galaxy, universe, so forth and so on. And I want to touch on what I feel is going to be a key point in this, or I guess a key point in this, or function, is going to be the actual logistical planning of it. I had talked previously on some shows about me when I was a driver. I delivered to some ports for cruise ships, and when we did so, man, it was a shit ton of trucks, dry vans, reefers, and we were all there at the same time. And, you know, one by one, two by two, they back us up, you know, to a mobile dock, and they unload everything off our truck and immediately put it on the ship. But my point is they time everything perfectly. Like, they get the produce from California, they get the beef from freaking Kentucky, they get the toilet paper from Texas, and they bring it all to one place at one time and say, we're going to get all this shit done in a day. And I'm serious, man. Like, for those cruise ships, they load that entire thing in 1 to 2 days, man. Just everything all at once. Boom, 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 bam, bam, bam. And then that thing sets sail the next freaking day. And I think that's the way it's going to be for this type of stuff, you know, because, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and these private people, they'll build warehouses on site for these spaceports, as you were talking about, James. But I honestly don't see that happening, because, you know, what's the point of building a warehouse to store shit for a few days, you know what I mean, or whatever. And when you're only sending a few flights up, maybe a month or a year, there's no point to keep, you know, inventory. So, you know, I think there's going to be some complexity issues to this as well, you know, and obviously these companies, they're going to have to hire logistics experts like us who know the ins and outs of the ground game, not just the ones who say, hey, this is what we're going to have to do to get that shit up to the space station, to the moon, to Pluto, whatever the case may be.
I might take it like a step further into, you know, load planning, driver tracking, monitoring. So Elon's got his physical human implants, right? So say you're like you were talking about, Hunter, the two dudes in the black suit show up. You're the chosen driver. You're the chosen one, right?
And I have $1 million.
Yeah. Hey, come with us. We're going to take you to get a freaking implant in your ocular nerve. Right. So now you have all these drivers that, you know, and obviously we're going autonomous at some point, but, you know, I would imagine that we'll have humans in there still, even if the trucks are autonomous to some degree. Yeah. So they know where the driver is 24/7. They can probably see if he's got an ocular implant, where he's at, what he's driving to. They know the load that's in his truck. They know that load planning, what, you know, the days, however minute before it gets there. So it's just going to automated, boom. No, there's no check calls. It's, hey, let's turn this guy's eyeball on and see where he's at, right?
Dude, honestly, are you being serious about that, about the thing with Elon, the implant stuff? Are you being for real?
Yeah, they've got like brain implant technology. I mean, right now they've got like
the palm shit where you can pay with stuff.
Palm implant stuff, yeah. So you can like scan. It's got all your ID information, all your payment information in your arm and shit.
Have you guys ever seen the movie? I may be wrong on the title, but it has Justin Timberlake in it. I think it's called
when it's like the time on your wrist.
Oh yeah, they get
that. Look, I'm telling you, this is the first step. I've been trying to tell people, like, dude, there are all these movies that are science fiction. You know what I mean? It's like, do y'all not fucking watch these things and remember?
Look, I watched iRobot with Will Smith.
Yes,
and I'm seeing AI robots at the Los Angeles Rams game and all these different sporting events. I don't know if they're actors or not, but if they're not, that is fucking scary. I know it's to promote that movie Creator, but like, dude, that's like AI is trippy. Like it, I don't like. Even Elon Musk came out and he's like, it's scary.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not
one of the smartest guys in the world. One, you know, with Asperger's, he is like a visionary of our time.
I'm not
as
even.
good or
Yeah,
bad as it might be, but like when that man says it's scary, he doesn't know where it'll go. Like that's an issue. Like I don't know. I don't know what to think about
He
that.
can't control it.
Yeah,
That's his concern.
and it constantly learns.
Yeah.
Constantly learns.
All I gotta say is, dude, we are on the cusp of some Matrix shit. I'm cool. I'm cool with tech, man, but I'll say I know we're throwing off a little here, but I will say that humanity's dependence on technology and software has escalated too quickly, and we have made so much ground so fast that it is literally destroying our fucking population. I mean, people are so dumb that, I mean, like if they don't have technology to help them, then they can't do it. I literally saw a post the other day of a 18-year-old. The girl said, "What did you do before Google Maps? How did you find your way?" Like seriously, I know that's like kind of crazy, but you know, it's just that.
Dude, my dad used to print off maps
Map-
from like Yahoo or something at work if we were going on a trip, or just some big ass maps. Like,
That's it.
asking for directions.
We're depending on it so much, man. I will agree. AI is scary, man. I know it's been around for a while, and everyone says that, oh, it's been here, whatever. Like, yeah, but AI for some algorithms to search the type of shit that you're searching on your computer or your phone is one thing. When you have something that you're talking about, you want to make capable of making life-altering, changing fucking decisions for a species that it has no emotional, no intellectual, no nothing, you know, contact with or connection with, then I don't know. I think that's just pushing stuff a little too far, a little too fast. But anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, what's the contingency? So like, we've been a premier expediter for a very long time, and we have contingency. Like, we have fire drills where we can work off paper still, and I think that's kind of a lost art in logistics. And I'm not gonna lie, our people freak out every time, but it's it, you know, we can do it, and it's just, you know, what if stuff goes down? What if something happens? What if? And I think a lot of it's the weather patterns, right? So like that shuts stuff down all the time, and like, you know, I think we have a lot of planning around where that moves to within our offices and like backup plans and all that. But you know, hey, just what if complete failure? Can we work off paper?
That's a good idea, man. I mean, that really is, dude. And I'll say that mine and your generation, James, is more, I think we'll be okay with that if something really happened. You know what I mean? Because we've been there, man. We're pre-internet, we're pre-phone. You know what I mean? We know what a fax machine is, and snail mail and picking up a phone to call someone, and when the phone rings, there's no caller ID. You don't know who the fuck it is. You know what I mean? You just hope it's someone you want to talk to. But shit, now my brain just got lost.
But answer the phone, right?
Oh,
yeah,
you know,
no,
answer the phone.
I still got my notepad.
I know what I want.
All my customer call notes sitting over here, dude. I'm not one of those.
So I know what I'm saying. An example to what you're talking about, man, is the airlines. Look at this shit, dude. Here, the airlines, one system goes down and their entire nationwide network shuts down. And you got to think, like, how pathetic is that? Like, you operated for decades before technology, and even though you obviously implement all of it, you never thought to yourself, hey, what if all this shit goes down one day? What are we going to do? And so I think that's a great example, man, which I also think goes into the space freight thing, man. You know, that's obviously going to be a total dependent on technology. You know, what are their contingencies if we end up having to go back to the 1970s when we were sending people off planet and stuff off planet to be, you know, start building the space station, all that, which actually was, I think, in the 80s. But you get my point. You know, what are those contingencies? You know, we get to the point we've got colonies on the moon and the entire network goes down. What are we going to do to be able to get, you know, ships off planet to be able to still get that stuff done?
We did it in the 60s, man. I think people are just too dumb to write that equation. Like,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, and there's also a lot of safety behind that technology aspect that I don't think they had back then. It was just kind of shooting for whatever, and I would imagine the Challenger explosion probably wouldn't have happened if some of those measures were in place. And yeah, I think you'll probably start to see that improve. I mean, as you said with the airlines, last year and we had some of the worst days I've seen in air freight just ever, because the dependency on some of that technology. And it used to not, there used to be those contingency plans out there where there would be backups, and now you see the whole system go down. So it's interesting to think about where that might land with the space launches. And what I imagine they just at some point there will be enough volume of launches and space travel that it'll impact it, will improve. Right. Or they, until then they just won't launch the spacecraft.
Yeah. So with all of that said, Hunter, do you have anything you want to say in conclusion, or James? And we'll move on to our final commercial break and chop it off because we are reaching our 1 hour mark.
No, I mean, it's very, very interesting stuff. It is inevitably going to happen in our time. So it's cool to be in the conversation, like just talking about it, as far as it's advanced from 5 years ago, whatever. Now we're seeing actual progressions in it. So Rob, this will definitely be one of those things like I talked about, this is going to be stuff that we are talking about for the years coming. Like, now I'm excited to see the progression of it all.
James,
it's amazing. No, thank you guys so much for having me on. It's it's cool to get weird with people about this. I know, like I said, I brought it up a few years ago and people thought I was off my darn rocker. And I think it's a more viable conversation now than it was then with privatization and everything. Super awesome. Thanks again for having me on. You guys are rad. And I'd say check out Caplogistics. Check out our podcast, Global Trade Weekly. Shout outs. Thanks again, guys.
Cool.
You got to share that with us, James. I didn't even know y'all had a podcast. I know you talked about a studio, but
that's awesome.
It's another part of our company. So it's just caplogistics.com, or check us out on LinkedIn. And like I said, there's our podcast there on Global Trade.
That's what's up, dude. I saw when I was on your site some videos down at the bottom, but I didn't get a chance to watch them. I'm assuming those are probably part of y'all's podcast. So we'll have to check that out, man. Yeah, for sure. And we appreciate you being on. In conclusion, about this space freight thing, I want to say again, Dr. Dre and I touched on this shit first. I don't care what any of these other clowns are doing. Just because they got more views than us and more people in their crowd don't mean that they were the first. We were the first. Let's talk about this. I'm going to just say that again. Either way, space freight, serious shit. It is truly coming. We've obviously, like I said, admitted that there's UFOs and other things out there in the universe, which, I mean, if you really thought that we were the only intelligent creatures in the entire universe, then I don't know what your train of thought is. But point is, if there's other things out there, then we're going to eventually be out there. We're talking about colonizing the moon per an article that Hunter showed by 2040. We're already talking about colonizing Mars. So all of these things happening, all of this stuff is going to need to be supplied with equipment and materials and food and water and drinks and all these things that we're going to need to survive off of this planet. There's going to be a lot of people involved, even from industries that you don't think about. Like we talked about, insurance companies, freight factoring companies, Equipment companies. There's going to need to be specialized equipment to take care of some of this stuff, So a lot of big things are going to happen in this. How fast it happens, we obviously do not know. But I am pretty sure, as James said, and as Hunter and I have talked about as well, that it will happen in our lifetimes. And it is a pretty cool thing to watch in the beginning. We're all in our 30s here. Well, Hunter, you are 30. James and I, I'm in my late 30s. James is in his early 40s. But my point is James, I don't know about you, but I think it's cool, man, to watch something from its infancy to where it's grown. You and I, we watch, cell phones, cable TV, streaming networks, internet, all of these things that, we watched from when we were young to become what they are now. I think it's going to be also cool to watch the space logistics industry take off and watch that same thing, especially with us all being in logistics, us understanding about how important it is and the coolness factor that is space logistics, man. I think it's going to be amazing. So good deal. Awesome. Great talk. All of that said, we're going to end our show. Freight Management Systems has an amazing transportation management system for all of you folks out there in the logistics industry. Tons of capabilities and integrations. Just go ahead, give them a shout. Website and contact information is rolling at the bottom of the screen. If you contact them, tell them that Dr. Dre and Pedro Potato from the Logistic Lounge sent you over there. Boom. There you have it. There you have it. Our next sponsor, AccuBid Pro. They have an app for all you owner-operators, lease operators out there. Allows you to input your load and expense data, and then generates your cost per mile, which is important for you to understand so you know at what point that you are profitable at. So be a better owner-operator, be a better lease operator, and make yourself more money with AccuBid Pro.
Don't be a victim of cheap freight anymore. Take back control. These are turbulent times for the transportation industry, with companies merging or even closing their doors. Whether you're going out on your own or leasing on with a new company, know your operating costs. Look out for you and bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Yay. Give them a holler, Jimmy Durden and Crystal, and I don't know, maybe there's more of them over there. Those are the only two I know. Information rolling across the bottom of the screen, their website, and the email to hit them up. Again, tell them that Pedro Potato and Dr. Dre Day from the Logistic Lounge sent you over there. And with that, does anyone have any exiting comments?
Negative.
Shoot for the moon, boys. Shoot for the moon.
Shoot for the moon. Woo-hoo!
Give them hell.
That's what I'm talking about. I tell you what, boy, old James, he live in Denver. They be shooting for the moon every night.
Boy, it doesn't help some of the drivers out here, I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. It was amazing hanging out with you guys. James, really appreciate you coming on. And like you said, really cool to kind of geek out on something that not a lot of people talk about, man. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I've been into space stuff for a while. I told Hunter a quick little story, man, when back in 96, 97, whatever it was, when they landed the first rover on Mars, my science teacher, man, we did a whole day out of it. Like, he played the video and showed all the news articles, and kind of ever since then, I've been interested in where our space technology and program is going to take us. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Hunter, always a pleasure to see you, boo. And I will talk to you tomorrow night.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.